Microsoft Excel is full of calculations, functions. We've spoken about a few of them as you've gone through this course. If functions, VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, index and match functions, SUMIF, all sorts of functions. Now it's great. Excel is a very powerful, a very robust tool. Now, no matter how careful you are as you build calculations, at some point you're going to run into errors. So what I want to talk about here is how we can audit some of the formulas that you'll be creating within your career within Excel. The first feature I want to take a look at here deals with tracing the precedents of a formula, or looking to see which cells a formula uses. This is a great, excellent tool to use if you ever inherit a workbook from somebody else that has a bunch of calculations in there, but now you need to know how those calculations were created and what's going to affect the outcome of those calculations. What if I change this cell? Does that change the calculation? How about this one over here? Does that change it? Let's take a look at how we can trace the cells that a formula relies on. Take a look. So open in front of you, I've got the example file open. I'm currently on the formula auditing worksheet. This is, if you took part in the first section of this course, this should look very familiar to you. This is the if function worksheet. I just created a copy of it. Now we can use it to build an audit with. Now, let's take, for example, just one of these simple little totals here. I'm going to click into cell F5. This is H. James's total for the month of December 2015. Now, we know what cells this formula relies on. Where's it getting its sum? How is it coming up with 36,000? Well, how about this cell over here? H5. Was the goal met for H. James? Well, now it's perhaps not as clear which cells that formula is using. So I want to be able to trace what cells are really feeding information into this formula. Take a look. So I clicked inside of cell H5. I'm going to go up to my Formulas tab, top of the screen. And towards the far right, you have a section called Formula Auditing. And in there, I've got two trace buttons. We're going to talk about the first one here, Trace Precedents. So the idea is I've selected a cell that's got a formula in it. Now I want to know what cells contribute towards that formula. I'll give that button a click. And now it's drawing these arrows from the cells that formula relies on. I can see that the total is included in there and the monthly goal. Let's try another one. I'm going to click on this guy down here, this 176,211, and I want to know what cells contribute towards that total. Well, if I go back to formulas, back to formula auditing, I'll give that trace precedents button a click. Now in this case, it's drawing an arrow, and it's a thick arrow all the way through those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells, the individual totals that make up this $176,000 limit here. So a simple button press, not much more than that. You click into a cell. I'll grab this number 3 down here, go back to formulas, trace precedents, and now it's drawing, right, telling me which cells rely on that or feed information into that formula. So try this out. Open up the example file or open up one of your own workbooks. Click into a cell that contains a formula and trace the precedents.